Welcome back to another episode of Have Game Will Travel. I'm your host, Bennett Newsome, also known as Dammit Bennett out in the gaming community. As the Director of Esports Growth and Development here at Full Sail University, I'm super passionate about exploring the diverse world of esports and gaming beyond just skill levels. So whether you're a first-time listener or a returning fan, we're thrilled to have you join us for a virtual journey through the experience of industry professionals. So let's get ready to engage with our guests and learn from their perspectives. Remember to submit your questions in the chat and we'll get you the answers that you want. So sit back, enjoy the ride as we kick off another episode of Have Game Will Travel with our featured guest, Jacquie Lamm. Jacquie, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, why don't you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself briefly to the show. Let everybody know who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'm really bad at this. So if I forget something, I'll just shout it out later on. But I'm Jacquie Lamm. I am the current STEM and Esports TOSA, which is teacher on special assignment for Minneapolis Public School District. So it's a K through 12 district in Minnesota. I am the previous assistant director for Minnesota State University Mankato. And I'm a co-founder of Esports and Coffee, mentee and mentor for Wiggy and Queer Women of Esports.
Awesome.
Got them all.
Yes, you did it great. This is what I'm talking about. Well, welcome to the show. I've been excited to have you. We got to hang out at Dreamhack recently. We talked to all things esports and gaming and collegiate, and it was a really fun time. But most recently, you were the recipient of the Good in Gaming Award at the Scholars Award this year in Las Vegas. That's tied in with the Esports Award. What does this recognition mean to you? And talk to me a little bit about just the whole experience of that and the award.
Yeah, I think it finally hit. Maybe last week. So it's been 2 or 3 weeks since that happened. And when I won, it's one of those moments where you think I'm never going to win. And I really didn't think I was going to win. And so leading up to that moment, you're thinking well, this is what I'm going to do just if they say my name. And I don't know if anyone else does this, but in my head, I'm when they say my name, I'm just going to be okay, little in shock and then go up. And when they did, when I heard my name, I just had so many emotions. I just it. Everyone knows I was up against, and for that award, it really made me think about what I've done this past year, and I'm just really grateful and thankful for everyone who voted for me for it because of all the other contenders for it, who I have personal relationships with, and I love many of them. So it was just a shock, and I cried a lot, and they had after my speech, which I had not prepared for, Andy, my husband, kept asking me leading up to that. He's like, do you have any speeches prepared if you get win anything? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to win. It'll be fine. And I did. So I go up to the stage and I'm just what am I supposed to say? I didn't even say thanks to anyone. I think it was Clerky. He came up after he won the Global Impact Award and he was thanking all these people. I'm like, oh, that probably would have been good. I was just so shocked. And then they carted it off to do interviews, and I'm bawling as I get off the stage. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I was bawling as I got to the next stage. And these were college kids. It was College Esports News that They did a really good job at interviews, but I doubt they used mine. Because I get off and I'm just ugly crying. And to these college guys, I'm like, how does my makeup look? And they're like,
looks great.
Mascara's everywhere, streaks. And so I saw Jacob. He was back there, and I'm trying to looking, and I'm trying to see if they had a break because I'm just 5 manager. I need a napkin. And he came over and saved the day for me, so I was able to get my makeup. But I'm just really it's finally settled, and I appreciate the award, and I know next year is just going to be bigger and better.
Absolutely. And obviously this is something that's evolved over time. It started with just the Esports Award and moved into the Scholars Awards. And so really getting that recognition for the collegiate space, I think, is huge. And for you to take away that award, that's such a great opportunity for you to continue your journey in the esports world. So congratulations on that. And obviously you've taken a new position recently, leaving Mankato State and then moving into the Minneapolis public school system. Talk to me a little bit about that change.
I feel like a lot of people move from K through 12 to collegiate, and I moved backwards because of the opportunity I had to impact such a large district. So our district has 72 schools total, and that's roughly like 39,000 students. So I was going from um, our program was just under like 70 to 80 students total, including everyone that impacted it. And I was moving to a K through 12 system. And I thought going into it that it wasn't going to be easy, but I knew what I knew.
Right.
And I don't. It's just moving from collegiate to K through 12 or vice versa. It's just a completely different powerhouse.
Yeah.
There's so many more doors that you need to break down, but I'm in a really fortunate spot that everyone that I've met so far has been very supportive. They all want to be supportive of esports in some way or another, getting STEM to the students or just more opportunities for them in equity, because it is a low income area. And so a lot of the students don't have just general consoles or any type of devices. So I'm working with trying to figure out how to get them to play games on Chromebooks or get them STEM opportunities. So it's a new challenge, but I'm loving it.
Absolutely. And that's huge. I mean, I think, when we think about when we were in school as kids playing, games was one of the tiniest, littlest pieces of the education that you got. And, seeing children now growing up in a school that has opportunities for this, that has access to different things, whether it's Minecraft or Roblox or whatever it may be, like there's such an opportunity there to learn and grow, and using tools, using gaming as the tool. So I'm really excited to hear more about your work in STEM and really what is going to continue that journey for you. Obviously, yourself in gaming, what got you started in gaming? How did you end up in a position like this?
I've been a gamer my whole life. Shout out to Jessica, my twin. I was her like map. I would always like show her where to go or look up all the cheat codes online back when the internet was first started when you
Yeah.
really had to find, or those GameStop books.
Yep.
But I tried streaming in like 2015, I think. And so I was kind of new to that, but I missed the bubble for that and stopped. And I was at a job where I needed to get a higher degree to get the type of job I wanted. I knew I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be a receptionist or just a low level job. I wanted to be a director or something higher up in admin where I felt like
Right.
I could make an impact. And so I went back and got my master's at MSU. And that's not Michigan. It's Minnesota State University. To me, it's MSU. But my first research class, they asked us to create anything we wanted. And at the time, it was 2017, and esports had been around for 4 or 5 years and it was just up and coming. I'm like, I'm going to research how to create a program for high schools and colleges. And it just spiraled my entire master's degree. Every assignment I had, I researched how and what were the aspects of creating your own program, how to get sponsorships, how to create from the ground up grassroots. And that's how I started consulting just a little bit on the side. Back then, everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. I feel like it even still today, we're all just making our own handbooks, but they're becoming
Mm-hmm.
more generalized. But that's how I got into it. I created my own dream job when I was consulting for the school and they hired me.
That's
And
incredible.
I love what I'm doing. I can't believe I'm working in video games, esports in general, just the whole thing.
Yeah, that's incredible, and I think that goes to show a lot. The taking the initiative to say, "Hey, I want to do something," as a student, and building something together, and having something to say, "Hey, this is great. We're gonna do this," and obviously the opportunity and blessing for them to bring you on and help run that show was incredible as well. So congratulations on putting in that effort and really, really making that foundation come to life there in Mankato. Obviously, continuing into your new career, that was just the launching pad, right? We always talk about careers in gaming and in general, that it's always a stepping stone. You take one to get to the next, and you're a prime example of that. And I think in my journey of doing research to write these questions for the show, I think the one of the coolest thing was the teacher on special assignment. It sounds like you're like a cop or something. Like, it sounds really cool. It's like a very cool title to have. Talk to me a little bit about finding this opportunity, taking this job, and what that means to you.
Yeah, so I hadn't necessarily been looking for the job. I kind of got reached out to, but I always just troll Indeed and LinkedIn just to see what the opportunities are
Mm-hmm.
out there at the time. I learned through the younger generations that you shouldn't necessarily stay at your job if you're not getting um, the promotions that you
Mm-hmm.
think you deserve. And I was kind of at that space. It only been 3 years, almost 4, I think, when I ended. But at the same time, I felt like I couldn't miss up this opportunity to apply and get it. And I did. And it created a environment for me to realize that we can move forward and make um, better benefits for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that the K through 12 system is the next like boom.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to jump on that. And so Tosta, I get to I work in the district office, so I don't work necessarily with the students as much. That's what the teachers are for.
Mm-hmm.
So I work to advocate for our teachers to create their programs. We just got a really large purchase order for one of the schools to be equipped with consoles. And it was the help from myself and community ed, just trying to bring us all together. So I'm kind of like the middle person, and that's what I'm loving doing. I'm just looking for opportunities. I'm going to say that so much. I'm just looking for opportunities to
Right.
bring awareness to the district, so students and parents understand that they can participate in esports, and it's not them just playing at all hours at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people have the misconception that it's all games and we're not doing anything else. But there's so much more. So much goes into it. Talk to me what like a day in the life of Jacquie is right now. What does that look like on a typical day?
Oh, well, right now I'm on break, which I haven't had in like
Perfect,
4
right?
years. Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of PUBG,
All right, all
and I
right.
am loving it. I haven't looked at my email since like the beginning of December, which
Okay.
was awesome. But
Well, when
usually,
you're in the office,
right?
what does that look like?
So I do have a teaching license. I got that. I had to secure that after I was hired. They helped me secure that, which was new to me because I never thought I'd be a teacher.
Right.
But so I can actually teach, which I don't know if I'd want to, but I have the license for it. But mostly right now, it depends on the day. So, of course, we all have our weekly meetings that we're attending, doing updates or just brainstorming with our department heads, trying to figure out budgets. Budgets are really
Right.
big right now.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I'm looking for tournaments or for other avenues for our students to play in. There was a lot of STEM opportunities. I just named all the AJ the other day. Samsung had one, Intel had one. A lot of Minecraft, trying to get
Yep.
Minecraft pushed through, and a lot of back and forth with IT because when working through K through 12, you don't have the same just openness, I guess, in
Right.
collegiate. It's a lot more strict. And so just trying to get them to understand and work through all the pathways, go through all of the proper forms just to get things approved. I'm still working on Discord. Minnesota just doesn't want Discord to be approved. It's going to happen. I know it will. I just need Discord just to
Yep.
like tighten up their ship just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But so part of my day is just trying to get software approved that the students can participate in. So I just got Minecraft EDU, which is free because the district already has a license for it,
Right.
and the students can use it on Chromebooks. So then me scheduling dates in the future for students to hop on our teachers so that I can teach them. Actually, the students will be teaching me,
Right.
but I'll be teaching the staff how to use it through
Right.
YouTube videos. Or like, you do this, and I did have a
Yeah.
really really great tutorial video. But it's just things like that, just trying to um, bring other avenues and make sure that our esports teams that are current are registered for the leagues that they're playing in, giving them extra league opportunities if they want to participate in. So, like in the spring, we might participate in Play Versus. It's not something that I would have said last year, but I have high hopes for
Yeah.
them at the moment because they're free. So we're going to give them a chance and give it to students who might not want to play super competitive, just want to have that casual team
Hmm.
environment, something after school that they can do and have fun with others. And then our it's not our state league, but I call it our state league, is Minnesota Varsity League. It's the unofficial state league.
Okay.
That's the one that we really compete in for the higher quality competition with the other schools. So then I'm just kind of tracking all of our students. We have 14 students going to state in January. I'm pretty excited about
That's
that.
incredible.
So writing reports and doing a bunch of admin stuff, which I wanted to do. I'm really happy. I feel like I'm at home.
That's great. Well, I'm thrilled to hear that. And during your time when you were at Mankato State and in the collegiate space, you were also on the board of directors as a member and the membership mentor for NACE. Talk to me a little bit about your time there.
I love being a mentor, and I want to preference that I think it's always okay to go back and be a mentee, even if you've been a mentor before. But if you feel like you have advice, so my mentee for Queer Women Esports, they could have been a mentor because everything that I told them they already knew. So it was just general conversation. It was great. But for NACE, it was more giving my mentees, just asking them what they need help with, and then going through a checklist throughout the semester. Here's your ITCs that we're filling out this week. Are you registered for your teams? Here's how to use League Spot, and then just going through what are you looking for next year? Are you looking at camps? Are
Right.
you looking at registration for spring? Just making sure that they're on top of that list that AJ curated really well, and then just happening to have conversations with them. I love having one-on-one conversations and just getting on a Discord chat and brainstorming camps or just having an individual vent about how they're not underappreciated, but underappreciated because I feel like a lot of us just put in so much time and
Yeah.
effort and it really drains you. And so just trying to remind them to get that work-life balance, which I didn't have my first year. I lost a lot of time with my daughter at the time. And after that second year, I cut it off. I made sure I had certain hours that I
Yep.
didn't work. But I think that's what's really great about esports is that we don't have 9 to 5 jobs.
Right.
We have very unusual hours. Um, and I actually got to meet one of my mentees at Intel Inspires last year in
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was Intel expires. Talk to me a little bit about what happened there.
So Intel Inspires runs what is it called? It's not a showcase. Maybe it was a
Show
showcase. They
match.
run a high school competition,
Okay.
and they paired it with TechSef this last year. The years before that, because of COVID, they just held it online, and so they invite collegiate individuals to come down and host a booth so that we can watch the match. And this year it was at the Arlington Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was
Yep.
and it was just awesome. This field house was just full of students playing all the titles all at once, and then there's parents there. They had, I want to say, like 300 people.
Oh
It was
wow.
just amazing to watch all these students, and then people on the stage. And then the Intel Inspires part of it was where we had panels and round tables and got to talk. My favorite thing right now is when students join the panels, even if it's just one or if it's full student panel, because that's what we need to learn
Right.
from. We're here to support them. And even though I might have a way of how I want to do something, I want to make sure that the students are heard. And if I need to change a way of thinking, I want to make sure that I run it by them and then make the decision afterwards.
Absolutely. And obviously, you've really been an advocate for women in the space. You're a co-founder of Esports and Coffee. Talk to us a little bit about Esports and Coffee and what you guys are doing there, and kind of the goals and the inception of that.
So Danielle and I had met through NACE, and we had been on a panel the week afterwards, and we're like, hey, we kind of know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we spent the next year just trying to think of this conception of we want a space for directors and coaches to be able to vent or talk and not necessarily be in a league Discord and
Right.
just be open. And there were a couple at the time, but we made one and it didn't really pop off. We invited people, we vented to each other, but it just wasn't really what we wanted. And after the next NACE convention, more women were introduced and voted and approved to be on the board.
Yeah.
And it really had us thinking, like, why don't we just start a new group? Let's just think it through. Let's really figure out what we want in this space. And at the same time, we kept seeing the same people on panels.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at that space also where I want to see new people on panels. I keep seeing a lot of the same faces again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always nice to see the same faces, but I think that the space has just grown so much that there's so many people that have really good knowledge. And so that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create a stream for it started with the 5 of us. Sari, Danielle, myself, Katie, and AJ.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to create a safe space. So that's what our Discord is. We thought through every scenario too of what happens if someone comes in as a troll or
Right.
says mean things, which I'll get back to that about later. But what happens during this, or how do we get more people's support? And so far, it's just been a whirlwind of support and amazingness. I think we're really impacting the scene at the collegiate level. And since this past couple months, we've been wanting to kind of get out of collegiate and expand into other areas of just gaming and supporting women and
Yeah.
LGBTQ, non-binary, just everyone, allies. It's not just for women. That's kind of what we set out to showcase our opinions, but we're not just about women in esports. And that's what started
Yeah.
Esports and Coffee. And it was with a question mark because we never knew it was in a cup. And none of us actually drink coffee except Danielle.
Okay. I like that. So
Sari can't have coffee, and I
Sarah
drink
cannot
Mountain
have
Dew.
coffee.
So.
We've agreed that is not a thing that should happen. But let's talk about this because I think it's super important. And I was lucky enough to be at the first one in Las Vegas, and then obviously right before the Scholar Awards, you hosted the second. I'm going to assume annual now, kind of happy hour networking events at the Scholar Awards in Las Vegas. Talk to me a little bit about what that is and why that is.
Yeah, so we do this thing, it's called Hit the Road, and it's just where if one of us happened to be at a venue or a conference, we want to invite others to just sit and chat because a lot of great discussions happen after you take off the suit and tie and you have a drink or two or even just water, but you're just more relaxed in an environment where you're not sitting listening to a couple people on a panel. You can just have a general conversation. And that's what brought on our first roundtable. I
Yep.
think that's what we called it.
I think that's what it was.
And,
Yeah.
yeah. And we invited a bunch of different people just to come and chat. And I still have the list. So we had a list of questions, like just guiding questions if people didn't know each other or didn't know how to talk to each other, but it never even got to those questions because people just started talking. During this most recent one, me and Chase Newcomb had a really great discussion about the LAN that was hosted at MSU this past year. And while it was frustrating, it was still nice to just talk to him about what happened and how I felt at the same time. So it's just a place to get things off your chest, but to listen and to vibe with other people.
Yeah, and how do you feel like these events and these networking opportunities, via Esports and Coffee, how do you feel like they have contributed to developing, what you are seeing out in the industry?
I think it gives us, like a safe space for people to come and talk about what they want and not have um anyone judge them,
Right.
or they can just be who they are. We're not restricting anyone. We're not telling you have to come and dressed a certain way,
Right.
or you can't come if you're a certain individual. It's very inclusive and it's very open. um and again, we're just here to support and listen if needed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's such a great thing because it's really opening up the door. I mean, obviously, my experience of being there, getting to meet a bunch of people that I have only met online. We had Twitter conversations or whatever, and being able to sit down and have like a legit convo was really cool. And it was in a space. So obviously, there was panels happening throughout the day, and this was more of a relaxed environment. So, kudos to you guys for putting that on and continuing that. Obviously, I want to leave out this because I know this is a big part of your mentorship, and we had talked a little bit about that earlier. But you had mentioned, is it Wigi, WIGI? How do you say that?
Yeah, so it's Women in Games International, Wiggy.
Awesome, and you were in the also a member of the Wise Twin Cities kind of group as well.
Yeah, so I took a step back from that when I took my Minneapolis job because I was getting super stressed, and I have since gone back. They left the door open for me, which I was very, again, thankful for that they
Yeah,
didn't just take it off. But that's so WISE is Women in Sports and Entertainment, and they've been wanting to get more of gaming individuals and esports people into it because they're seeing a lot of that student development growing, where students are coming right out of high school into college and are in those type of careers, and they don't have anyone to really um, have them talk to. And so I did a couple roundtables and they're called like quick networking, or it's like, oh, speed networking.
speed
It's like,
network, like speed dating,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, speed dating. So I sat on a couple of those where I got to help some individuals. And again, with the mentoring, I love mentoring. With Women in Games International, it really changed my perspective and my thought process of being in this space. So I've had two kids since
Right,
I've had this career, and that can be damaging to some people's careers because when they come back, they don't either have a job, or
right.
they don't want to come back, or it's too much time has passed. Um, and I don't think that's the right way to think, but that's just how I thought. Um, After having my son, I felt it. There was just like it was like an atmospheric fear, um,
Yeah,
that people weren't asking me the questions anymore that they needed to, or people weren't coming to me. And I felt like I was losing my position
mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what to do. And Women in Games International had their Get in the Game program. It's where they host 5 to 7 um, individuals to go to a large event. And I didn't think I was going to get it again. I got an email a week before ESI London, and I got said that I got awarded this full ride to
Wow.
go over there, which was like a $4,000 for me, four to
Yeah,
five thousand
yeah,
dollar,
that's a huge deal.
ticket, international air flight. Well, they gave us a stipend, and the hotels, everything was paid for. And going there, um, being at a really large conference and seeing a lot of people, because in the UK, everyone is just kind of accepted, I feel like.
Yeah.
And in the US, we're still fighting fights that we shouldn't be. Um, but it made me feel like I'm in the right space
Yeah.
again. And after talking to people, it just made me realize that I want to continue doing this. And I need to, because there aren't enough women in the space
Yeah.
at a certain director, assistant director, whatever level you want to call me at, to help support and be there for younger girls
Yep.
to see it as a career option. So that really just made me think about what I want to do in this past year with esports and coffee. Our do better motto has just been about that, is trying to be better
Yeah.
and not engage in the toxicity of basically Twitter. um, but also supporting people when they need to in a positive way instead of going to Twitter and just being super horrible and mean. You can very nicely in Minnesota passive aggressively um, respond in comments.
Yes.
But this past year, I've seen a lot of, not a lot. So there's still only been like 4 or 5 instances, but I feel like the tides are turning when it came to toxicity in esports and coffee, and that was all because of Wiggy. Like I don't know if I would still be here if I hadn't been on that trip.
Yeah, and I feel like first off, the not thinking we're going to win and then winning seems to be like a common occurrence here for you, Jackie. So I'm gonna try to adopt that, so I hopefully win more things in the future. But the what a trip though, I think that's such a cool experience, and obviously from we to be able to provide that to you is huge and really opens up the doors. I mean, you talk about being inclusive and providing opportunities. Say, I'm going to say opportunities so many times. This was one that was provided to you, and you've really taken the everything that was there and really expanded on it for yourself and now for the future potential students and people that you're going to come across in your career, which is really exciting. So congratulations on that. And I guess keep thinking you're not going to win, but take Andy's advice and make sure you write some speeches just in case. You don't want to.
Next time I will.
Thank
They gave
you
her
to the
awards.
people. Yeah, right. There you go. So obviously, I think when I talk about esports to anybody that maybe doesn't know much about it, there is a big kind of confusion about skills that you're learning, and why there's so much more to it. So I would love to hear kind of your take, because you're now teaching teachers to share these things with students that are going to bring out these skills. So what sort of like non-gaming skills that are essential in esports and building that type of curriculum?
I think, well, for right now in my job, K through 12, that's elementary, middle
Mm-hmm.
school, and high school. I've got like the high school down. I can relate to them. It's the middle school and high school that I struggled with because it's been a long time since I was that age,
Yeah.
and so much has changed between what students are doing. Like they all, like I said, most of them have Chromebooks. They're using apps that we didn't even have access to. So just try, right? Like we didn't even I didn't have internet when I was in elementary school.
Yeah. Right.
But so I was at what was before Dreamhack? Esports Summit. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was the one. There was a couple panels that were specific for K through 12, and there was a woman there that is an elementary teacher that teaches Minecraft. And it was just the coolest thing ever. And so with Minecraft, and I'm such a huge advocate for Minecraft and Fortnite as a learning tool and not just a gaming tool,
Right.
because it comes with STEM activities, and that's where you're going to get the extra skills within esports, where it's not just gaming. Within Minecraft, you can learn how to read and write, and I've heard from many teachers where their students have bonded better with the game, and that's where they're writing storyboards. They're writing entire classroom projects with Minecraft instead of just from a book. And then there's also coding, where in Minecraft EDU you have the block builder, but then on the two tabs you can see Java and HTML next to it. So you are learning how to code while gaming. I coded a Christmas tree. I couldn't figure out, I missed a step. So I had to go back and ask the student what I missed. And it was like the very first thing. Like I didn't connect the red dust, which brings in science. Minecraft has an
Yeah.
entire science, like alchemy aspect to it. And so it's not just playing the video game, it's learning as you're playing. And I think that's what people need to realize. When you think of Minecraft, you might think of people blowing up things, or, just building houses, or
Mm-hmm.
um, getting eggs, getting sheep, whatever they're doing. But it's so much more to that. If they just want to sit down and have a conversation instead of just being judgmental. We had a press release for my job, and there was a newspaper article that picked it up, and I read the comments, which I usually don't. But it was like 50-50. Half the
Yeah.
people were really excited, but then you always have the haters come in like, why are they adding Minecraft, or gaming is so stupid? And I just wanted to type in there and be like, hey, let's just sit down and have that conversation so
Yeah.
that we can go back and forth. And I might not be able to convince you, but at the same time, I might convince you that using programs like Minecraft and Fortnite, because Fortnite has the Unreal Engine, where it's a really good game dev, and I am very supportive of that. And then the Lego one's now coming out too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think those games are what the next steps for STEM and learning and getting individuals on board. So our students who are competing in traditional esports titles. And I hate the word traditional, but we're almost at that point where we have traditional esports titles. It's like the main like 5 or 6 titles.
Right.
So yeah.
I love that. We do have our very first question from chat. It comes from Samurai Tank. She asks, I would love to know if Jacquie has any advice for people struggling with the confidence to use their voice.
Yes. I think that you should look on Twitter and look at Sari Kaitlin. I think you should get a good support group first. Find people who aren't necessarily your personal family. Find people who understand you and support you so that you can vent to them and that you can help write copy with, or you can just ask advice for. Because through that, I think you're going to gain more confidence in just being able to speak openly. So here's my story. If I get emotional, it's not my fault. My name Lugnuts comes from, I was like 17 and I wanted to be just one of the boys. My entire life, I've just wanted to be one of the boys. I'm gonna get emotional. Sorry. I'll get there. This past year, during a Wiggy mentorship, there was a girl who she just really wanted to get in the industry and she didn't know how. And she stated, I know I just have to have tough skin, but I don't know if I can do it anymore. I'm like, wait. I had just had this conversation with my mentee last week. We don't need to have tough skin to be in this industry. And if I'm being called soft, that's fine. I'm very emotional, obviously. But I can't change that. I can't change the way I interact and how I feel. And I'm just realizing that I don't need to be just a boy. I'm not a 12-year-old boy. Jacquie Lamm, but I'm Lugnuts. I stuck with this name since I was 17. I don't want to give it up. It's who I am. And I want people to realize that you don't need to be so harsh anymore. Just do better. We can speak cordially, and your words have meaning. I literally have it tattooed. By the way, cool tattoo. I just got it. I literally have it on here. It says words can be just as deadly as steel. And that's why we're seeing a lot of people leave the industry, is because of how people are interacting, and why we're losing a lot of people too. It's because they don't realize the words that they say. It's because everyone sits behind a computer. So I think if we just do better, then you're going to learn to be more confident.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn to speak up when you need to, because we need people to speak up more about others impacting people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
No need to apologize. That was great. And you're so right, because I think, everything has an impact, and what you say really does matter. And I think from a younger age, kids in middle school and high school that are going through and want to be on this path to esports, this is an important lesson that they've got to learn when they're young. And the sooner that we can get them to understand that, the better, because their life will be much smoother if they're all working together and they're all supporting each other and they're fighting the toxicity, because that's a learned behavior, and if we can focus on how important those things are now while they're in that stage in middle school, and we're working through, they're learning about teamwork, playing a competitive game, and tackling those things as well, we can get those out of esports altogether in the next 10, 20 years. Like that's a really important piece. And so absolutely support that. And obviously it's hard when you come and you have those conversations with people that are like, I don't think I can deal with all these comments anymore, or what the hate that I'm getting for just existing, and that is really heartbreaking, when you see it. So I'm always blown away by you, Jacquie, and really, really proud of everything that you've achieved, so far this year. You've had a great year in esports, and that's a pretty incredible thing. So very, very excited for you. Where do you think you know, the path line of that is, I talk about middle school to high school to future college, for opportunities for students in esports. Do you feel like that's the path, or do you see something else in that pipeline?
I think we're starting to create it, and I think there's a lot of good discussions going on right now. You know, uh, Cody from Northwood and Clerky, they both bring up a lot of good points, which I think is a great discussion point. I don't know if I necessarily agree with them all the time, but I'm glad that they're starting it so that people are starting to realize that there isn't just one path anymore.
Yeah.
Like if you want to start young and just get a student involved with gaming and esports, it's more than just playing a video game. We're on a stream right now
Yeah.
that takes equipment, that takes software, it takes a PC. So them learning how to do that, it's just another activity if they were going to be playing hockey or t-ball or something else. It's just getting them to learn it. And then if they pick it up, maybe they'll find something that they enjoy earlier on in life. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 31. And I wish I had more time between those years of trying to figure out what I wanted to, but I didn't have people that I could look up to. I didn't have a mentorship that I could think through jobs or interviews for. And so I think that the younger kids are now seeing that these are pathways
Yeah.
to get a legitimate job, and parents are starting to realize that too. It's not just and I saw a tweet, and of course esports lives on Twitter. I wasn't even on Twitter before this job, I swear. um but I saw someone comment and say that they wouldn't ever want their kid to go into a pro career or even in collegiate because
Mhm.
they're not going to get any necessary skills, or they're just wasting their time. And Andy and I had that conversation with Andy. Like, this person just doesn't understand
Yeah.
gaming. It's the same as football. It might not be as physically demanding, but everything that those football players are putting into their craft, esports players or back of house or whoever you want to call backstage people, they're putting their craft into creating an environment to showcase and to be entertainment for people.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was Shaq that was like, said that esports is such an incredible, sport, and that the amount of physical activity that obviously basketball has, the rest of it was mental for him. Like it was all
Mhm.
upstairs, right? And he said the same thing about esports. Is like, yeah, so not as you're not as physical, obviously, but the rest of it's all mental, and that is a huge part of the game. And so, there is a lot, and I love the part too. It's something that we really advocate for at Full Sail, is that there's so much more to esports than just being good at the game. Whether that's working in the production team to put on an event, or if that's actually building and developing the game, or if that's, working with the team that's organizing the tournament and making sure everybody's in the right place. Like there's so many avenues for you to work in this industry. It's just really about finding and identifying, and for students, having the opportunity to go and participate in those types of things. And I think that is, like you said, is really the growth. There's many paths now, right? There's not just the one. And I think that's definitely exciting. That you can really start to be a little bit more broad in that, hey, I want to be in esports, but I want to work in this area. Obviously, just like on a football or hockey team, there's an industry that supports the players on the field or the ice, and that's the same thing for esports. And it's only, football and hockey have had hundreds of years to like get that established, and esports is still
Mhm.
working its way through. But, obviously it's a critical element of what we're trying to accomplish. And, obviously it's been evolving this whole time. I mean, I think back to when I first got involved in esports till now, and just seeing how much it's evolved. For you, I mean, talk to me a little bit about the evolution of esports during your time so far in your journey. What is, kind of how it's been going through that time.
I think you really hit it, because hockey and football have had hundreds of years, and they have updates and reworks every year.
Yeah.
And esports, we're just getting into that, that little league series or the
Yeah.
elementary and the middle school kids. We're just starting to tap that. And I think once we get a full structure or more involvement from those little kids so that we're able to shape them in a way that's positive and creative for them. I think once we get that, so I would say like 4 to 5 years, I'm
Hmm.
hoping, even though esports moves so much faster. Um, I think once we get that, then we're gonna have an even better outlook for people accepting esports because it isn't just pros anymore or collegiate.
Right.
Um, and this past year, that's why I took this job, is to be a really big part. And it's not a bubble, but I like to say I'm part of like the beginning of the bubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not gonna pop in a bad way. I think it's just gonna boom. Um, and that's why I like my job, is because I'm able to advocate and be supportive for those students right now that want to participate. I have middle schoolers who just want to play on a Switch just to be on a team after school, and they're playing with students and other kids who they didn't think that they would find friends with,
Yeah.
or they're playing with some of the sports kids and learning that they have the same similar, Fortnite, or playing even League of Legends.
Yeah.
I think that once K through 12 is really locked in, which again, 4 to 5 years, I don't think it'll be locked in. We're still struggling with how to write a handbook, or
Yeah.
how to write consequences, or how to write contracts with our students. Like, that's still changing and evolving, but I feel like I'm a part of that. Like, so many of us were a part of that growing and that pain, where it comes to updating those needs for the students to protect them, but then to protect the orgs, the universities, the schools as well. And I think that and I don't think NCAA or NAIA, I don't think that's necessarily the way to go. Um, I don't know what the next couple years will look like for collegiate, though. I just know that it's gonna stay active. We have more than enough schools in competition. It's the leagues that I'm really looking for to see what happens with them, because there are the couple big ones, NECC and NACE, for the 4-year schools and
Yeah.
some of the 2 years, and then the JW ones for the 2-year schools.
Yeah.
But they're out there. Students want to do that. They're on universities, they're on campuses, they're at your districts. They want to play, and they already are. So it's just getting them together and making it a league or formalizing it.
Yeah. And you talk about merging these two worlds from the collegiate side to the K through 12. What sort of challenges are there? Like, obviously, there's some roadblocks that you're going to run into that you haven't experienced in the collegiate side. What sort of challenges have you seen so far in this new role?
It's definitely equity and working. This is with minors, so you have to always
Mm.
be considerate and conscious of that one, you always have to get parental permission, and that some of the websites that you're working with might not be appropriate for kids, or if there's an extra, if they're under 13, they need an added layer of protection for students. And so I think that's something that I completely forgot about, is just that extra layer
Yeah.
of that I need to work through. And it's going good. I've secured a couple partnerships, but I'm excited that the people that I've come across have already been working with K through 12, so
Yeah.
I'm able to lean on them and ask them questions about how I can deal with a certain contract type or deal with a certain IT issue, and I'm, just hopeful to keep pushing. I don't believe that the word no is in the IT vocabulary.
Yeah.
I think you just have to keep looking. Okay, well, what's the next step? You
Yeah.
said no, so maybe we can look at this again at a different angle,
Hmm.
or who else can I talk to? Because again, it goes back to people just don't understand esports in general. So let's just sit down. Let's
Yeah.
not go back and forth through
Hmm.
emails. Let's actually talk about what your concerns are and how I can alleviate them.
Yeah. And you guys have had some pretty significant events there in Minnesota. Revolving around esports. What sort of impact have you felt, or do you see that those things having on, what you're doing now for your position?
I have seen a lot from the COD side,
Yep.
which is I wish that high schools would allow COD, but I can understand, again, it goes back to being a minor
Yep.
and the age,
The
the
mature game
maturity.
for
Yeah, the
sure.
mature game. But the kids are gonna play it
They're
anyways. They're
playing it
gonna get
anyway.
pressure from their
Somehow
friends
mom has bought this
or the
game for
parents,
them.
right? And it's really not a violent game. It's not. But so I think just having that and being students in a community being able to come together to see that, the lands getting
Yeah.
COVID just kind of ruined lands for everyone.
Mhm.
And everyone was just really excited. One of the first lands I went back to was a Rocket League LAN. It was a local event for our state, which is now they've like expanded their league to like 4 or 5 states. I'm really excited for them. But just being able to see
Yeah.
there was like 300 people that showed up to this land just to watch some of their favorite friends or teams play
Yeah.
that I had no idea who they were. But it was the excitement that you get when you go to a LAN and you're supporting. At Dreamhack, I got to watch StarCraft 2. It was like
Yeah.
the first time I watched it in a long time. But I knew it was happening. I was just so excited just to be there and be in that environment. It just, people think again that we are just basement dwellers. I'm in a basement. But when you get us all together, we have really positive
Yeah.
interactions and we have a really good, strong community that is usually supportive at lands and positive.
Yeah, absolutely. DreamHack was fantastic this year. This year, most recent DreamHack was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and obviously we got to see each other there. What was your favorite part? Obviously, StarCraft was a big part of that. What else about DreamHack this year was special for you?
I got to go around and I got a spray paint.
Okay.
So they had like a spray paint mural. They were doing a COD thing, and I got there super early. Because I was told to get there early, and then I got a bunch of cool pins. But I got a spray paint. And I've never spray painted before. You just got in line, and I'm like I'm just gonna go like this. They're like, yeah, I had like 5 guys. There wasn't anyone around because I was one of the only people there. And they're all telling me like, yeah, just go for it. I'm like, really? Just go? They're like, yeah. So I'm like, shh. And they're like, no, wait. I'm like, what do you mean? I just said I should. And so then they drew where like with their fingers, so like do up and down, and then and then I got it. But that was cool. I also got to play on mobile for the first time.
Yeah.
A new game. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a COD game.
Okay.
And I have never played a mobile game before, but I heard how easy it was. It's not. I had fun, but man, it took me a while to get used to it. It's a different type of
It
game.
is a different type, and I get the idea that everybody's got one in their pocket, so why not play games? But watching some of the COD mobile tournaments that were happening there was blowing my mind, like how good these players were just doing this, and I'm all thumbs, so
My
I
thumb
don't
got
know,
like
but
stuck, and I'm just if I hadn't had the bots helping me, I would have lost. Like it was a 5v5. I was playing against 5 bots, then myself and 4 bots, and my bots definitely helped me win.
yeah. Oh yeah, all in all, I think DreamHack was another success. We've been going to DreamHacks for a while. I think this was like my eighth or ninth DreamHack that we went to, and always probably my favorite outside of TwitchCon, but that's in its own like category because it's a little bit different. DreamHack is my favorite convention to go to. So if you're ever around and you're like, hey, I want to go do something, DreamHack is for you. Definitely go check it out. Jackie, do you have like a specific moment from this year or a special event in your career so far that really significantly impact you and has been really special, throughout this journey?
So 2, and one was so I consider going to London like still 2023, even though it was the beginning of the end of 2022.
Okay.
So that one just really impacted me. But then I think just starting our esports and coffee channel in October and then ending just this past month. Yeah, we just ended. We had our 1 year. No, in October we had our 1 year anniversary. And seeing the support that we've grown We've expanded a website. We have our own apparel line. People are excited about our pins. People are excited about talking to us. And it's not just about us, though. It's about our community and supporting each other. And I feel like I've once again found a cause and a reason to stay in this industry. And it's because esports and coffee and the community that we're growing. And I'm just excited. We have Gremlins talk show coming up in 2024 where AJ is going to be doing some one-on-ones with some people. And then we have a couple other exciting announcements that we'll be making in 2024. So we're growing slowly, and I like the way that we're doing it. We're not just exploding. And even if we would, we all have day jobs, we all have family and life. And so we're just slowly growing. And that's what I like about seeing people pop in every day, new people, and everyone just goes into that channel and waves at them or says hi, getting introductions. And I'm loving where it is right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And obviously esports and coffee has been a huge deal for a lot of people. You guys have really fostered a fantastic community there. And I think if you haven't had a chance to join the Discord, you should. Obviously we're kind of coming to a close here, so I do want to give you some time to let people know where to find you, how to get in contact with you, how to join the Discord. But before we go, obviously we always ask everybody, where do you see esports going in the next 5 to 10 years, and how important is that K through 12 aspect of where it's going?
I think we're going to see the development of that true path to pro. I think pro, it's not, we had this discussion at Dreamhack, and I'm a firm believer now that if you find a job at the pro level, you should take it. But I think we're really going to hone in on that, starting young, like a little league, getting that interest in, going to middle school, getting more experience in it, going to high school where you're going to be finding even at middle school, kids know how to code. Like, come on. They're going to, those kids are going to be working so much. I don't even know how they do stuff. But when you get to high school, you're learning it more in college. And then if you want to pro, and I don't think it's going to be considered pro as just players, because you have pro broadcasters, you have pro people who know how to stream. You need all of that back of house. So just an entire org that needs people. I think we're going to find that whole streamline within 5 to 10 years. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I love that. I think there's so much that can be included in that going pro, in the esports space, that it really is fantastic. So, all right, Jackie, tell the people where they can find you. How do they join Esports and Coffee? Tell them all the things.
So I'm Lugnuts on Twitter. I don't check my Twitter DMs. I'm sorry. You have to go to Discord. I'm also Lugnuts on Discord. That's the best way to get a hold of me because I'm attached to Discord. And then Esports and Coffee is esports_coffee at Twitter, or esportsandcoffee@gmail.com. That's probably a better way to get a hold of us is email. But definitely joining our Discord. We have really fun things like, oh my gosh, I can't remember because I haven't looked for the past 2 weeks. I've been trying to stay off Discord. We have One Good Thing Wednesdays, where we like to support other individuals in the industry via Etsy, or someone you watch on stream, or just someone that you look up to. We do Tip Yourself Thursdays, where we encourage you to do something for yourself or have a certain food item that you really have been craving. And then I think we're going to be switching this, but we have Health and Wellness channel, where we advocate for you to make goals for yourself for the month. And then we support each other through it, and just trying to, even just saying a good GG or keep up the good work. I think it's really important. So starting January 1st, I'm going to be reaching out to one person. I'm going to try to every single day and just support them. I'm just going to do a thread on Twitter, I think, and not tag them, but I want to just reach out to one person every single day and tell them how awesome they are or what great work they're doing. Because I think sometimes we forget to do that. And we think we let them know, or we'll like a post, but I want to actually do that, or even
Yeah.
give them a phone call and just be like, great job.
Hey,
You're
you're doing
doing
good.
incredible.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
And that goes a long way for like such a good and positive thing. Obviously, Jackie, thank you for being on the show. This is our final show of the year. This is, I guess, a wrap on season 2 of Have Game Will Travel. So we will be back next year, 2024. So stay tuned and have a great rest of the night, and Happy New Year. And we will see you soon. Bye.